Lori Stewart was the executive director, and very recently, she was named the new CEO of Peacemaker Ministries. So I'm excited to learn more. Please give a warm welcome to Lori Stewart.
Thank you. Before we get started, I want to make sure my PowerPoint is working. Is my PowerPoint working by chance? If not, I'll just wing it. My husband and I are used to traveling to Africa and Asia, many third world countries, so we're used to places that don't have electricity. So blessed are the flexible, right? They will not be broken. Well, thank you, Barnabas Group and partners, for the privilege of being here to talk with you about Peacemaker Ministries. This is our mission at Peacemaker Ministries, is to equip and assist Christians and churches learn how to navigate conflict biblically and heal their broken relationships. So who do we serve at Peacemaker Ministries? Well, we serve believers who are stuck in conflict. So I have to ask you, how many in here know someone who's stuck in conflict? Raise your hand, and don't look at the person next to you. No, in all seriousness, we probably all know someone who is stuck in an unresolved conflict. It can be a marriage dispute, a family dispute, a dispute with your siblings over inheritance, property issues. Maybe you just haven't talked with a friend in a really long time. Or maybe it's something worse, like a division happening in your church or a toxic situation in your workplace environment. We handle these kinds of conflicts, small conflicts and large conflicts. Because what happens is conflicts affects not only the people who are directly involved in the conflict, but it is pervasive because it impacts and infects people all around them. So conflict even between mom and dad can affect the children. It can affect the whole family. Conflict between two pastors can impact the entire church. Conflict between two business people or employees can impact negatively the entire organization. So it is pervasive, and we need a better way of dealing with conflict. Well, Jesus tells us, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. So Jesus tells us that as children of God, we are peacemakers. So how do we do this peacemaking? Well, our goal at Peacemaker Ministries might actually surprise you. It's not to get everybody to like each other. It is really to get them to encounter the presence of God by the power of his word and his Holy Spirit, because that's where the transformation takes place. And when transformation takes place, then that's when relationships can be reconciled, conflict resolved. And when that happens, that's really the icing on the cake. Let me share a little story with you so you can get an idea of what we do at Peacemaker Ministries and the impact of helping people with conflict. We had a situation with a college campus ministry. It's a national college campus ministry, and a dispute arose between two key ministry leaders. They were very angry with each other, and they were at a situation where they thought they could not go forward. The ministry was stuck. They could not make decisions, critical decisions that the board needed to make to move forward so they could expand globally. So they called in Peacemaker Ministries and said, can you please help these two men to reconcile? So we sat down with them over a course of 2 sessions. We mediated with them, and here is the outcome from the words of the chairman of the board who had called us to come in and assist with that. He said, a dispute arose between two men, and it got to the point where one of us has got to go. But losing either of these individuals was going to be hurtful to the ministry. If this disagreement had gone public, it would have been damaging to the ministry. We needed these men to reconcile. This was no easy task, but thankfully, Peacemaker Ministries was able to mediate and help them, just short of miraculous, achieve reconciliation. And to my amazement, these two men are getting along fabulously. And frankly, I'm stunned at this accomplishment. Now, I want to let you know, these two ministry leaders were so excited about what God had done in this reconciliation meeting, they drafted up a celebration document, sent it to their entire board to celebrate what God had done through this mediation. They were able to move forward. The ministry could make the critical decisions that it needed to expand it globally. That's doing conflict differently. Now, when it comes to conflicts, there are lots of different kinds of conflicts. And what we have seen at Peacemaker Ministries is marriages are saved, friendships are healed, relationships are restored, workplace productivity improves, and it's a better witness for the kingdom. Look, the church is where all the Christians are, right? So it's not just in a building where you go on Sunday mornings. It is in your workplace. It is in your ministries. It's in your community, wherever Christians are. That's where we want to be. Why? Because where two or more are gathered, there will be conflict. That's true. There will be conflict. And so we want to come in and help train Christians, no matter where you are in your context, whether it's your organization or your church or your business. We want to help you. We've done it. We've done it with Hobby Lobby. We developed an entire curriculum for them. We've done it with the Orange County Rescue Mission. We've done it in prisons. We've done it at college campuses. We've done it with lawyers and judges in Nigeria. We have done it with the seminary students in the Ukraine in the middle of a very real war. So I invite you to consider how you might be able to invite us into your context to help people around you, including you, learn how to navigate conflict better. Because we are peacemakers, but we have to learn how to do peacemaking. So peacemaking, we say, is the gospel in action. You see, conflict is an opportunity. It's just an opportunity for us to share the gospel and to live it out, because the gospel is meant to transform our lives, to save us, yes, but also to redeem even our relationships with other people. And conflict actually gives us the opportunity to do this. Okay, so how do we do this at Peacemaker Ministries? Well, at Peacemaker Ministries, we take a comprehensive approach, and we offer 3 ways of helping people in conflict. We do this through training, services, and our resources. Through our training, we help people learn how to navigate conflict in their own lives, but we also help them navigate conflict and help other people in lives. This is how we maximize our impact, right? This is how we scale our impact. We train people who can also help others. Does that make sense? We also have services. So if someone can't resolve a conflict themselves, they can call us and we can come in and do conflict coaching and mediation. We help them if they don't have the tools to do it themselves. And then we have an abundant number of resources. We have books, we have training guides that you can do at your own pace, online learning, and a free app. I'll talk a little bit more about our free app later, but we do have a free app to help people navigate conflict biblically. I want to tell you a little bit about another story, a case that we worked on. This is a church case. At Peacemaker Ministries, we were called in to assist with a church dispute because there was a dispute that erupted between the pastor and the elders and several members of the congregation. So the pastor left. And the elders wanted to hire a new pastor, but they thought, we have a terrible situation happening in our church. There's so much bitterness, distrust, anger, discord, gossip. We really need to reconcile before we hire somebody new. So they called in Peacemaker Ministries. And what we did is provide a 2-day training church-wide on conflict resolution. Help them have skills to know how to navigate conflict biblically. And then we did 2 days of mediations for anyone in the church who felt like they needed to reconcile with the elder team. And we sat down and we completed all those mediations. And we used our app to help facilitate those conversations. I want to give you a little bit of testimony from one of the elders who sat in on all that training and on all those mediations. He was a doctor, by the way, a medical doctor, this elder, and he said, I was familiar with most of what Peacemaker Ministries taught, but what was new for me, and quite honestly life-changing, was the element of taking responsibility in conflict when I thought everything I did was right. But I learned not to be defensive and instead acknowledge and take responsibility for the hurt that I had caused from the decisions that I made. I apologized and asked for forgiveness. This radical shift in my ability to do this came from what I learned. I can't do this in my own flesh. I need the strength of Jesus. He is the one who is totally sinless and yet took on responsibility for all my wrongdoings and allowed me to be forgiven and restored. The Peacemaker approach helps us to reconcile, and we reconciled with all the couples who wanted reconciliation. This continues to allow me to address other relationship issues in my life. Now, I'm happy to report that church has a healthier culture now. They're on a search for their senior pastor, and they are on their way for doing more training so they can really build a culture of peace in their church. Now, we have 5 levels of training because once people take our training, they really see the value of this and how this is the gospel in action. So we offer further training for those who want to help other people help others in conflict. And we start with a facilitator. That's kind of like a small group where you're helping to facilitate training. It could be small groups or large groups. And if you really enjoy it and take to it, then you can become a coach. A coach just helps one person in a conflict. And then you can go to the next level, which is a basic mediator, and that's just helping 2 people with a basic conflict. From there, you can go on for more training for the next level, which is an advanced mediator, helping larger groups, 3 or more people who have a conflict or more complicated dynamics. And then the last is certification. You can get certified to become a professional peacemaker, so you can do all of this and charge for your services. But the key is to build peacemaking teams at churches, and every church needs a peacemaking team. You should be thinking right now where you might see a peacemaking team needed, maybe at your work or maybe in your ministry. But be thinking about where peacemaking, because we need this everywhere. Now, I shared with you a story about a church conflict. I shared with you a story about an organization that had a conflict. Now I want to share with you a story about how our services impacted one particular individual. One woman was experiencing many different conflicts in her life, and she decided she needed to meet with a peacemaker coach. And so when the coach talked with her about her identity in Christ and being a child of God, she wasn't sure she was a child of God. She needed to pray about it. So the coach asked her if she had ever prayed to receive Christ, and she said she hadn't. So the coach said, well, you can know today that you are a child of God if you want to pray to receive Christ. And she said, okay. So the coach led her to pray a prayer to receive Christ. Now, this is a woman who had been in Bible study for several years, and no one had ever asked her if she had prayed to receive Christ. So the coach spent the rest of her time encouraging her in next steps to take in her new faith in Jesus and help learn how to navigate the very many difficult relationships that she had in her life. And this is what she told us. I now have solid tools and resources from Peacemaker Ministries that are helping me to manage my feelings, emotions, my relationships with others on a daily basis. I think before speaking. I always consider any offenses that I can let go of. I am much better equipped to include all the better handle all the difficult relationships in my life. I'm so grateful for learning how to navigate conflict God's way. Now, this woman started the inner healing process, which led to peace with God, is leading to peace in herself and peace with others. That is doing conflict differently. Now, I don't have time to unpack all of this for you, but this just gives you an idea of the numbers of people that we are serving in the last couple years, how many people we've trained, the number of resources we're providing to prison ministries, how many people we're serving through our reconciliation ministries as well. And we have many people who are downloading our app every year, thousands of people downloading our free app every year, using it to help them in conflict. We do track all of our statistics at Peacemaker Ministries. We get written feedback. And one of the things we do is provide a lot of follow-up to those who use our services, because sometimes conciliation falls apart. And so we help them to navigate that. And we even developed an entire curriculum to help people through that. That is our Living Reconciled curriculum. Now, it is a new day. We have a new path that we are following at Peacemaker Ministries. And many of you might have heard us in the past, but we are going through some changes. We downsized, and now we're expanding again. We have all new curriculum. We just moved our offices to Orange County. We're moving our printing press to Orange County and our store to Orange County, so there are a lot of exciting opportunities. You might be wondering what you can do to get involved with us right now. So I would invite you to consider, number one, do you need peacemaking training? And give us a call. Are you interested in helping other people with training? Would you like to invite us into your context to do a training? You'll see in your Barnabas booklet there's many opportunities on how you can get involved with us. We're a small organization and growing, many volunteer opportunities, specialty opportunities, and of course we're asking you to share If you want to help people in conflict, share with other people about what we are doing. Now, in closing, let me just say this. I believe that you can help Peacemaker Ministries be the catalyst for a gospel movement that refocuses millions of Christians, on their call to love God and to love others in the middle of conflict, becoming the hands and feet of Jesus to a world who can know that we are Christians by our love for one another and for them. And that is doing conflict different. Thank you.
Thank you.